It is the Big Fat American Podcast. So, what are you up to now? We met at one point, and you have an exciting story. You're from Israel. Uh, I guess the background is, I was just listening to new music, and I discovered you on my own. Who's this Rami guy, Rami? And I liked the music right away. And then all of a sudden, I get two calls. Have you heard of this Rami Feinstein? I go, yeah, I know who he is. I like his music. I already am playing it on our radio stations. He's really good. And they couldn't believe that. And they thought I was bluffing, but I wasn't. So, you're featured on New HD, New York and LA. Then we had the meeting where we had that nice lunch, a vegan lunch in New York. Interesting.
That's right.
Where are you now?
So I just had a show yesterday in Asheville, North Carolina. And I just came here from Israel for another tour. So I have a show in Asheville. I had a show in Asheville. Now I have Akron on Thursday. And then next week, I'm going to be in New York City at the bitter end. You coming?
We're on our way to Iceland.
Oh, so maybe next time I'll get you.
Next time. That's always how it works, too. Like you keep, I don't know. Maybe the next thing you know, you're in New York, I'm in Iceland. So are you going to maybe on the way back to Israel, you could stop at Reykjavik.
And then I have Raleigh, North Carolina, and then Buffalo, New York, and then I'm going back to my wife and kids.
Oh, that's wonderful. I have the album here, and I told you one of the things that really popped for me was the use of your color, the orange and black. I think it's lovely. And the album, it's fantastic. It's got to mean something good. I think that this is an award-winning design for album art in the typography that you use and how you put the photos together. Can you give us a background on how you actually created this work of art, this album cover? Or
First of all, thank you so much. If you can put in a good word, whoever does the Grammys, and tell them about my album cover, that would be great.
Actually, I can, because we have a whole series of The Art of Music. I think that's the name of it. Again, I'm bad with names, but some of it is in a moment in New York, and some of it is housed over at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And some of the people that vote on the album covers are featured in these interview series. One is Judy Salovitz, and the other is Spencer Drake. So I'll make sure that both of them are well aware of the artwork that for this CD cover. I guess that's
Thank you. We decided on I decided on that I want a collage because I feel like there's so many things put together in this album, and when you put them together, it creates something new. I'm old fashioned. I still believe in albums, and I still think when you hear a bunch of songs, it gives you like an added value rather than just hearing one song at a time. Sometimes it gives you a more, and it's a little bit deeper. So yeah, we have the collage, and I gotta say, my wife and I, we and a friend, we tore the newspapers. We put them with glue. It's not all computer. We took the glue and we did the work to make the collage, and then we had a very talented graphic designer help us um, uh, take it to the next level. But yeah, it was work, and I love it. I'm so proud of it, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it. And when I'll be nominated for the Grammys, I'll take you with me as my date to the Grammys.
That would be fantastic. I love how you put this together. It really is a throwback to how album covers used to be designed and how they would get inspired. For instance, one of my favorite album covers of all time, I never expected that we'd be talking album covers on this interview, is Physical Graffiti. Now, It's a famous Led Zeppelin album. It was released in 1975, and the tracks were leftovers from earlier recording sessions that they couldn't fit on the album. So when I was a kid, I thought, wow, this is a double album, fantastic. I'm going to get a lot of bang for buck. I get a lot of Led Zeppelin for paying my $20 plus the artwork. I thought it was a really good buy. And then because they were out of England, I always thought, well, obviously, this building on the cover is in the UK. It's in London. It's not here in the United States. Only to find out that it's located on 8th Street and First Avenue in the East Village, right by Thompson Park on the right-hand side as you go east. And it's about,
Nice.
about 8 or 9 city, wow, more than that. Let's just call it 10, 12, 15, 20 blocks. I don't know. 6th and 8th is where Electric Lady Studios are. Jimi Hendrix recorded there. As you move towards Fifth Avenue and you go down the right after Washington Square, you're not too far on Bleecker Street from the Bitter End, which is the venue that you're going to play on May 10th. Now,
Right.
I don't know if you know the background on the Bitter End, but some of the most amazing talents have taken the stage there, I think, including
I know.
Bob Dylan.
I know, that's why I wanted to play there at first. 10 years ago was my first show at the Bitter End. And I had visited the place, and I saw a show there, and I saw the list of artists that had played there. Johnny Mitchell, Tracy Chapman, Stevie Wonder, they all played at the Bitter End, and they all started there. So I said, well, I should play this. I should play here, and that's how it started. And at first, they gave me they just let me play completely in Hebrew. I did
Wow.
maybe one song in English, and it was great. And then I just keep coming, and it's kind of a tradition now. Every time I come to New York, I play the Bitter End, and I love this place.
That's fabulous. I think that who's ever running the soundboard should make a tape of the show so that you can eventually release it live from the Bitter End, right? That would be
Of
fantastic.
course.
Now, it is on May 10th, so here's something that you can do that will endear yourself to the people of New York who are rock and roll aficionados. It happens to be the birthday of the legendary broadcaster Scott Muni, who once was an afternoon rock and roll disc jockey icon in New York at 1027 WNEW. I might have spoken to you about that in the past. So everything we're doing with New HD is sort of a tribute to the great Scott Muni, who was friends to every single rock artist that you can think of and made a difference in their lives. From Elton John, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, various other ones. Scott would let them come over to the studio. John Lennon, when he had his rock and roll album, is another example. Stop over, play the song. So if you get up on stage and go, hey, this one's for the legendary Scott Muni, would have been his birthday today, May 10th. The other May 10th birthday that I know of is, do you believe, Dave Mason of Traffic fame. So you're there to celebrate being at the Bitter End and the memory of the one great Scott Muni and a tribute to the one great Dave Mason, all in one show. Can't think of any better combo, right? You get up there and the people are like, who's this guy? He's not from Israel. He's one of New York. Yeah. What is the biggest challenge for you as an artist?
Wow. I don't know the biggest, but for me, I think right now the biggest challenge is just to keep going and to stay authentic and to whatever I want and need to create and say to the world, while maintaining a career moving forward and performing. And right now, with a wife and 2 kids, and making enough money so I can justify doing that and not taking a different job. And just I think today sometimes I feel it's just about survival. And just a lot of people that started, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I'm no Justin Bieber. And when I walk down the street, no one stops me and say, "Hey, you're Rami Feinstein." maybe someday, but not today. And I'm still here, and I'm still doing my thing, and I'm getting more and more people to hear my music, and I'm working on it. I wake up in the morning every day, and I think maybe the biggest challenge of it all, and that's a life challenge for me, is to say, okay, so I don't have this, I don't have that, but I want to look at the things that I have accomplished, and I want to enjoy my journey, and I want to say thank you for what I have, and not concentrate on what I don't have as a musician and as a person in general. So maybe this is my biggest challenge, to stay positive and keep going.
To live in the moment,
Yeah,
right?
and to appreciate what I have. See the fact that I'm here touring, uh, and my music, my songs, people from the other side of the world are coming to listen to those songs. This guy from Israel, he traveled all the way to the States, and we're listening to what he has to say, and his songs. And that's not something I can take for granted. So I'm not a millionaire, and and that's okay. But I'm an artist, and I keep going, and amazing things are happening. And what you need to what I feel that I need to do is just to stop and smell the flowers, or however you say it in English.
Smell of
To
flowers and smell of flowers and listen to the birds, what you're doing right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and enjoy it and appreciate it, and just to keep going. And that when you do that, you get enough energy to keep doing what you're doing, rather than just saying, "Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. Why don't I have a hit song on the radio? Why am I not a millionaire? Why am I not performing in big stadiums?" It's so easy to go there, and so many musicians just at a certain point they say, "Okay, I'm not going to do it anymore." And I haven't gotten to that point, and I keep going, and I think that's because I know how to appreciate what I have.
What is the biggest misconception that people have of Rami Feinstein?
Wow. Um, Maybe because I'm very tall,
Yeah,
and
you are. I thought I was the
I'm,
tall one when we first met.
maybe that the fact that I'm very confident, um, and I'm very and outside, I feel like I have everything under control most of the time. Sometimes people are kind of surprised to uh, to learn how sensitive I am.
Well, you're an
Uh,
artist. Artists should
but
be
so I
sensitive.
am.
You
Yeah,
can't
I'm
be an
very.
art you can't be an artist unless you're sensitive to your surroundings and a sensitive human being and have compassion and empathy for others. So that's what makes you who you are by being sensitive. It's not necessarily a negative thing. Caring what people think about you is also a wonderful thing because then you have to think twice about how you act. So these are good
Right.
things. I don't look at them as negatives. Um, what has been your biggest surprise coming to the United States that you never really expected when you came from Israel to here?
Well, I didn't really know how people would react to my music, and I didn't know how people would react to the fact that I'm Israeli. Because as an Israeli, you know that you hear a lot about the protests against Israel, the BDS, and so far, uh, I've been very fortunate that except for maybe one incident, um, like the people that I met, the Americans, the people that come to my shows, and the people that heard my music in this festival or the other, were all very warm, very welcoming, and I was surprised to see that they really like it. A lot of people really like what I'm doing, and I didn't. I'm not saying I thought they would hate it, but I didn't know how they would react, um, and it's been a pleasant surprise in a very very good way to see that I have people here that my music can mean something to them, and that's heartwarming.
Well,
Really,
it's
I have
great.
no other way.
It's great music. It's a great album, and it sounds fantastic on the radio. So you got
Thank
all
you
of
so
that going
much.
for you. How many times do people go to you because you're from Israel and we think it's maybe a small country the size of Delaware? Do you know Gal Gadot? How many how many people ask if you know Gal Gadot? Do you?
I don't know. No, I don't. But I know some people. Uh, like, yeah, it is a small country and it is a small industry. I've never met Gal Gadot personally, but she is extremely beautiful and extremely talented.
She
And it
is
would have
Wonder
been
Woman. I think the one good thing about her that we really have to think about is, the American public being introduced to somebody from Israel and that person's a superstar. So it kind of like really breaks a lot of barriers. And I think that's the most amazing thing for me. Although I got to be honest, I never really thought of anybody from anywhere as breaking any barriers. And I was like, hey, you're really good at what you do. Welcome home. Welcome to my home, or, welcome to my studio. It never runs through my mind like that, where people are from. It's interesting, but bottom line is, hey, are you good at what you do? It's all about the heart, and I guess in the
right,
mind. So I don't really,
right,
well, those things that you were worried about, I think most Americans don't even pay attention to. That's what the media will let you think that we pay attention to, but turns out that the average American doesn't really. We're not like that. we're very much different than what people expect, I would say. What would you say about?
I was also overwhelmed with the fact that a lot of Americans truly love Israel.
Yeah.
And I was it was so such a nice thing to experience.
Well,
They
yeah, with
really
all what yeah.
really genuinely love Israel, and it's like America is a friend in a very very it's just great.
It's a
It's
profound
to
friendship.
experience that as an artist.
Well,
Profound fan.
the history of modern day Israel is strongly connected to the United States, right? 1948, President
Right?
Truman making sure it happens, providing the aid necessary to make sure it happens. It is a beautiful country. I can't wait to visit it one day. I want to go through Jerusalem and go to all the sites. I want to go to the River Jordan. I want to do all of those things that people do when they travel to Israel. Sounds like a great place.
Yeah,
Um,
you should come.
Definitely one of these days. Now, as you look ahead, uh, is there anything that you've been hearing on the radio, whether in America or in Israel, that you're like, hey man, I wish I thought of doing that song?
Uh, well, most not most, but a lot of Dave Matthews songs. Uh, yeah, definitely some of John Mayer's songs. Uh, yeah, some of Jason Mraz's songs, and lots of Paul Simon songs.
So you
Yeah,
you should think about maybe covering one or two of those and make it part of your
yeah, I do. I do
set.
ants marching. I do Dave Matthews ants marching sometimes when I
Oh,
feel
and
like it,
yeah, that's good.
but I do it like in a kind of softer, uh, more paying attention to the words rather than the groove, like a folk kind of version. Um, I have it on YouTube. If someone if anyone that's listening right now or watching right now, so they want to go and look for it. It's a little bit of a different version. I like this song so much. So, and I like Dave Matthews so much. So I was nervous to mess it up, but it ended up to be something that I like. So I'm proud of it. So I do it once in a while. Um, uh, uh, Dave
Hmm.
Matthews is a very very big love of mine.
Okay, let's have some fun. How many of those songs, including Ants Marching, would you like to do a Hebrew version of?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it would ruin it. No,
I don't know. That
I,
might be fun though. You know what I mean? If you're
nah,
gonna ruin it, go for it.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I need to. Some things are better not touched.
Yeah.
It's just so good the way it is.
Okay,
Um,
I triple dog dare you to how about Hebrew version of Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin?
I don't know. When people do that, it always feels like a parody to me. It always
Nope,
feels
you're
like
right.
someone making fun of something. I don't know.
Oh well, that's fine.
I've never heard anything that was translated that was like, oh, maybe some Bob Dylan songs.
There
If
you
you
go.
really get the essence and the story, maybe some of his songs.
There you go. Just
I
don't.
don't know. That's if you can translate Dave Matthews into like you need a story, like a story that works. Even if you don't translate exactly the same, so
Yeah,
but you have a story and you're telling the story, so it could work. But if it's a song that doesn't have a very specific story with a turning point and in a drama, I don't know. I've never heard anything that I was really impressed by. So I think I'm gonna dodge that one and maybe not not do it. Maybe try to write my own songs.
well, being that that was really bad advice on my part to do it, your answer actually made a lot of sense to somebody who was thinking about how to by telling the story. So this became a learning moment, even though it was like just a stupid idea to begin with. See how we use something stupid to come out with something great. See that's right. And here's a rule. I'm going to tell you this: never ever take the advice of the guy you're listening to on the radio. Don't do that. Usually 9 times out of
You
10.
just gave me advice.
I did, but yeah, but you said no. I'm not going to do it unless there's a story. So really, we came up with a really good solution to an idiotic idea. So not too many people could say that. How can people follow you on social media?
Well, I'm everywhere. Spotify uh, is the best way to be updated if a new song comes out. And obviously, subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can see lots of clips from shows and lots of new materials that are not necessarily recorded. And to hear about my thoughts and my experience and to learn more about my journey, you can go to Facebook and Instagram. Uh, and I'm all over the place. So I'm very easy to find, and I like talking to people. So you can write me a message, and I like to people that like my music. Sometimes in the states, when I tour, sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, I'm in New York and Akron. Does anyone want to host a home show?" And I've
Oh,
done it.
wow, that's cool.
I've done it a few times, and people invite all their friends and I've done it a few times. It was always great. I love home shows. So if someone is watching now, and if you want me to come to your house and have a home show, and you can invite all your friends, maybe we can make it work next time I come to the U.S.
That's
So
great.
DM me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and we'll talk.
Fantastic.